February 6th, 2006. It truly was an historic day. Over 400 of America's foremost evangelical leaders together in one room with a single purpose: to speak and act with one voice in support of Israel. Since that day, Christians United for Israel, also known as CUFI, has grown to become the largest pro-Israel organization in the United States and one of the leading Christian grassroots movements in the world. That first meeting so inspired Christian leaders that just 5 months later, their influence encouraged over 4,000 Bible-believing Christians to converge on our nation's capital for the first Washington-Israel Summit. Christians from all 50 states came together at the Hilton Hotel in a passionate and unified display of support for Israel and the Jewish people. The timing was ordained of God. As Israel went to war in Lebanon, CUFI was boldly supporting them in Washington. It was a night of music and special speakers.
Because support for Israel is not a Democratic tradition or a Republican tradition. Support for Israel is an American tradition.
To have this kind of support within the Christian community for the state of Israel and for our strategic relationship is of incalculable value.
The following day, CUFI representatives from all 50 states went to Capitol Hill. Their purpose was to personally speak with their elected officials and express concerns for Israel's security and their support of Israel's right to the land by biblical mandate. By all accounts, government officials were taken back that such a large representation of Christians from all over the country would travel to Washington and stand for the nation of Israel. The enthusiasm did not die when the summit ended. Communities and churches all over the country held their own nights to honor Israel. And throughout the year, each time Israel faced blistering opposition from the world community, members of CUFI rang the phones and sent emails and faxes to leaders in Washington. The message was clear and unified. We must remain firm in our support of Israel.
I can't resist to say it. I will be silent no more. Our times demand it, our history compels it, our future requires it, and most of all, God is watching.
1 year after the first summit, an even larger contingency of CUFI members came together in D.C. for the second annual Washington-Israel Summit. Again, government leaders were impressed with the turnout. We now have state directors in every state of the Union and city directors in over 90 of America's leading cities. Since our founding, CUFI conducts over 40 events per month. Recently, Christians United for Israel has expanded its outreach to the Hispanic and African American communities. Many of the Hispanic and African American community leaders attended the 2009 CUFI Leadership Summit and learned the keys to furthering Israeli support in their own communities. Since its inception in 2008, CUFI on Campus has rapidly grown to include thousands of students on hundreds of campuses. Each summer, students attend the CUFI Washington, D.C. Summit to receive focused advocacy training. They return to their campuses ready and able to speak out in support of Israel.
The future of our pro-Israel movement, the future of pro-Israel activism, and the future of the U.S.-Israel relationship is on our college campuses, our universities across this country, and Christians United for Israel is leading the charge.
CUFI on Campus equips student leaders to speak up on behalf of Israel and the Jewish people, ensuring American support for Israel throughout the next generation. Christians United for Israel hosted its second Jerusalem Summit March 8th and 9th, 2010 in Jerusalem. It was a historic event. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Jerusalem's Mayor Nir Barkat addressed over 1,000 CUFI members during the Night to Honor Israel at the Jerusalem Convention Center. Another highlight of the evening was Pastor Hagee's presentation of the Israel Pledge to Prime Minister Netanyahu. Pastor Matthew Hagee unrolled the 238-foot scroll containing the signatures of more than 200,000 American Christians who have signed the Israel Pledge. The following day, over 1,000 Christians marched through the heart of Jerusalem, waving American and Israeli flags. They were greeted warmly by residents and passers-by who cheered, shouted their thanks, and even threw rose petals at the feet of the marchers. In July of 2010, 4,500 people from all 50 states came to Washington, D.C. to participate in the 5th annual CUFI Washington, D.C. Summit. Experts from around the world came to speak in support of Israel and agree with Israel's right to defend herself. During the Middle East briefing, participants were informed of the rising tension against Israel. They also listened via satellite to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's sincere gratitude for CUFI's constant commitment during Israel's greatest challenges. Also, for the first time at the D.C. summit, all members of CUFI's executive board gathered for an opening plenary entitled Why We Stand with Israel. Each board member expressed their reasons behind faithfully supporting the Jewish people and the nation given to them by God. The impact of Christians United for Israel is being felt around the world. Its membership continues to grow, and so does its influence. All Christians who love Israel are invited to join. They can start by signing the Israel Pledge, which states, "We believe that the Jewish people have a right to live in their ancient land of Israel, and that the modern state of Israel is the fulfillment of this historic right. We maintain that there is no excuse for acts of terrorism against Israel, and that Israel has the same right as every other nation to defend her citizens from such violent attacks. We pledge to stand with our brothers and sisters in Israel and to speak out on their behalf whenever and wherever necessary until the attacks stop and they are finally living in peace and security with their neighbors." Hundreds of thousands have already signed the Israel Pledge, and it's available on our website. The first step in making a difference is standing up and being counted. Please join us by signing the Israel Pledge and go one step further. Become a member of Christians United for Israel.